The AORUS GeForce RTX 5060 Elite marks the brand's top-tier GPU in the RTX 5060 lineup, meaning you're going to be paying a bit more for the Elite aspect of this card. But under the hood, this GPU is still an RTX 5060, and it goes without saying that it leverages all of Nvidia's fancy AI technology that we've seen in the Blackwell range. Speaking of which, I do need to mention before I get into things that Gigabyte provided this GPU to me for this review, and while I've had it before its launch, Nvidia just didn't supply any drivers for the hardware in time for the embargo, if there was an embargo in the first place. With all the drama surrounding Nvidia right now, I can only tell you to think with your wallet when you're buying a new GPU. For a brand that allegedly wants to control all the review messages with bloated and, to be honest, nonsense multi-frame generation benchmarks, you need to remind yourself who you're dealing with. I usually always include a mix of MFG stats and other benchmarks in my reviews anyway, but I will refuse to publish a review with only multi-frame generation benchmarks. It is not only unethical, but keeping the trust of my viewers is also important to me, so I simply won't sign my soul away to Nvidia to keep them happy. With that being said, let's get into it, the AORUS GeForce RTX 5060 Elite review. As mentioned, this is the brand's top tier card. It includes RGB light where you usually won't find RGB light on other models, but while the flash is all there, we also need to know how it performs. This Elite card retails for around 14,000 Rand or around $360 depending on where you're picking it up. It comes with 8GB of GDDR7 RAM, a drastically overclocked core clock of 2722MHz out of the box compared to the reference card at 2497MHz. The card comes with 3840 CUDA cores, 120 TMUs, 48 ROPs, 120 tensor cores, a 28GB per second memory clock, 128KB of L1 cache, and 32MB of L2 cache. On the outside, this AORUS GeForce RTX 5060 Elite comes with a sleek black shell and a triple hawk fan design. The GPU is incredibly thin and very square in comparison to other GPUs I've reviewed this year, meaning that every corner is sharp and the long rectangular design looks quite premium. I actually really enjoy the design of this GPU more so than others. There's something about the simplistic sharp design that looks quite fancy in my opinion. Even installed in my case, it just complemented my PC. There isn't really much to say about it in terms of its striking design features, to be honest, but it does work. There is a slight plastic sharp bit that protrudes out of the end, and the fan rim is covered in a shiny plastic piece. The card comes with RGB fans, and there's a light up RGB AORUS logo. The fan RGB looks clean. Given the thinness of the card, you can even sometimes see the RGB fans through the metal vents. It looks pretty cool. The GPU is then powered by a single 8-pin PCIe connector. The connector is also found on the far left-hand side of the card, which is also quite different from most GPUs. Does it result in a cleaner setup? Not really, as you'll still have this wire sticking out of the card, but if your PC card has a thick back seam, perhaps it will block its view. This also means that you don't need the 12VH PWR adapter to power this card, so it doesn't come in the box. Speaking of which, in the box you'll get the GPU, some paperwork, and an AORUS sticker. In terms of the dimensions, the AORUS GeForce RTX 5060 Elite is 329mm long, 128mm wide, and only 44mm thin. It comes with 3 DisplayPort 2.1B ports and 1 HDMI 2.1B port. Gigabyte says you'll need a 500W power supply for this GPU, but the TGP on this card is only 145 watts. By now, surely I don't need to give you the whole backstory and technical nonsense about DLSS 4 and these new RTX 50 series GPUs. The tech has been out since January and you're likely quite aware of how it all works. But the short and sweet of it, DLSS 4 comes with multi-frame gen, promises crazy frame rates, often obtainable but causes input lag. It also has a cleaner upscaling technique compared to DLSS 3. With that being said, I tested out some games. I usually increase the power limit of my GPU test by 10% for each card, so I did the same thing here. My current PC build is kitted out with the following specs. First off, we have the general heating and performance of the 5060 Elite itself. During the stress test, the card reached a max of 56 degrees Celsius, with the fans revving up to 1470 RPM. The card was pulling 155 watts of power, and the clock speed was hitting 2880 MHz. Fan noise was also deadly quiet, with next to no noticeable sound originating from the GPU. Generally speaking, the thermal performance here was good, and I can't see this card struggle with any thermal throttling or heating issues. I don't think the RTX 5060 is a bad GPU. The 8GB of RAM is a problem, but at the same time, 8GB is enough for 1080p gaming for now, and that's exactly what this card wants to be. 1080p is also achievable here without touching DLSS, which is also good news. But at the same time, I have to wonder how many gamers are still playing at 1080p. If that's your baby, then this card is going to be a great investment. You can push this card to 1440p across the majority of modern games, of course. You'll need to dive into DLSS in those cases, but it makes the card versatile to a certain extent. I would have just loved this GPU more if Nvidia included perhaps 12GB or 10GB of RAM on the base model. I just can't fathom why 8GB is still a thing for a desktop GPU. Like all my other GPU reviews, I can't say don't buy this because there are certain scenarios where this would be a great investment, but that always comes with its own terms and conditions. Here it means that this card is a great 1080p component with 1440p DLSS support. It means 8GB is going to be a problem down the line, so the lifespan here isn't as great as it could be, but 8GB is okay for 1080p in most cases. So there are so many things to take into account when recommending this card. For me, this card won't fit into my gaming world. I don't game at 1080p, I can't see myself ever gaming at 1080p unless it's on a handheld. I'm a strict 4K on the TV type of gamer, so I just need more powerful GPUs. If you are like me or you think you'll be like me in the next say year or so, then this graphics card is not going to work for you either. With that being said, the AORUS GeForce RTX 5060 Elite is a stunning graphics card on its own. The card itself is rather awesome looking, and to be honest, I might actually look at the Elite range as a purchase myself in the future. I actually didn't know they were this stylish. But those are my thoughts on this GPU. Huge thanks to Gigabyte for sending this my way to review. Are you looking to pick it up? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're here, also be sure to check out all my other GPU reviews I have on the channel. Also be sure to visit glitch.online daily for gaming tech news and reviews. Until next time, farewell.